Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Junk Journal July is the project and we are up to prompt 23, Maximalism. Now, I had to look it up. I know what it means, but I thought I'm going to have a read of the definition. And in the art world, it's the opposite to minimalism. So it's a bit of an unusual word in itself. You don't really hear it a lot, but you do hear minimalism in your day things, minimize minimalism. But this one's a bit tricky, and I don't know how to apply it to my journal. And then I thought, I haven't yet prepped general pages to slide into my Midori folder. So I started gathering up around my desk what was being sort of used, plus I went hunting for additional pages. I don't have anything with Japanese writing on it. I think that will come. I will pick up brochures and books and who knows in the travel. So I'm not too worried about the Japanese element. But what I did want to make sure is I had lots of generic elements that I can journal on. So today is all about prepping pages to slide into my folder. So I have a pre-prepared Stamperia page, which had been cut down to size to be perfect. So I've done a little measure of that, and whatever I prepare, it cannot be any wider than 10 inches or taller than 7 inches. So that measurement is from across here is the 10 and height is 7. That way I know it will slide under the Midori bands that will hold all these pages into position. So I've measured that. I know my boundaries. I'm just going to put that out of sight. So if I'm chatting away and I sort of forget, I know what I'm sort of doing. So I've grabbed a few different things already. I've grabbed some textiles. So I'll just put them to one side. I've grabbed some digitals that I had. Now, they're not really Japanese, but that could be. And I just love this floral. They're probably more Florentine wallpapers, but I don't know. Even that to me looks Japanese. That's probably not, but it could be. Doesn't matter. It's my journal. So these pages I will rip down to size to make sure they fit in my journal. And the other good thing about these pages is they are all white on the back. So I believe there's a prompt coming up. Yeah, stenciling. So what we'll do on the 28th, when we get to that one, is we will stencil the back of these and grungy them up so that they don't look out of place. But for today, we're just going to get them at least to the right size. I've got some envelopes. I've got one that I dyed in Parisian Essence. If you've watched some of my channels, or some of my videos, you would have seen a video about Parisian Essence. I don't use tea or coffee. Coffee because some people don't like the smell of it, so I'm sort of a little bit cautious, especially if it's a journal that's going to someone. Tea, you've got to use so many tea bags to get the colour you want, and I don't drink tea, so it's sort of not something that's gathering around in my kitchen anyway to utilise. Parisian Essence, I can control the colour, and it's readily available. It's like vanilla. It's like an essence you would add to a stew or a gravy to make it dark. A bit of an old school cooking ingredient, but yeah, it's around. Just get onto eBay and you will find Parisian Essence. So I'm just going to move my camera a little bit so you get more of the screen and less of me jiggling around here on my chair. Okay. Now, what was I saying? So I use Parisian Essence to coffee dye like all my papers, and I get some fantastic effects. So I had an envelope. These two envelopes I had joined together for another project, and they were just not used, so they were excess. So it's sort of two envelopes connected to make a very big pocket, which then was folded. So I'm going to put a couple of those in. And I've got some coffee stained paper, which is actually Brazilian Essence. Like I said, there's a video in my channel on how-tos, and this is a piece of straw paper that I got in a pack from Rachael from Roxy Creations. So very interesting paper in itself. I've also got some of Grandma's paper that she used for drafting patterns and things like that. Another digital print that's lying around that I might include. And the other thing is I do have some paper that I picked up at a Japanese stationery store. And it's a craft paper. I picked up 3 colours that suit my journal. It feels quite strong, but yet it's thin. So it's quite an unusual paper. So I'm going to also include some of that in amongst my pages. So let's get started. Let's sort of eliminate some of these bits and pieces and get my tear ruler. Well, the envelopes are pretty good, I think. Let's just check if that envelope went in. How would it go? Nope, it's going to stick out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim down that envelope. I'm going to cut off the end. So I'm going to bring up my cutting board. If anyone hasn't seen one of these are worth checking out if you're wanting a good cutting board. It's an absolute ripper. You don't need to buy blades for it because it self-sharpens as you use it, because you're applying pressure to the blade as you're sliding. It's going along this metal edge and it's sharpening up the little rotating blade that's in there. So no blades needed. It's a Caterpillar Pro. If you can see. No, there it is. Caterpillar Pro. You can get paper over 12 inches wide on it, so 13 inches, which is a bonus. What else can I tell? Oh, it has a light. So in the side here is an LED strip. So when you're cutting, you can actually see through your paper. I don't know if this will be a very good example, but see that there? So now I can see that edge. I don't really use it because I'm confident enough that I'm lining up here, here, and here that it's just going to be straight. But if you did need to see something, there's this illuminated panel here, and then you just switch it on and off at the bottom where my finger is pointing down there as needed. So really cool little device. I've used it a few times on camera and I've had a few questions about it. I got it through my local paper crafting store. So it's certainly something that she has sourced through a supplier, but I do believe they are online. Okay, so the envelope is cut down to size. I've trimmed a little bit off. It is now open there as well as there, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. I might end up closing it and opening at the top, or leaving that as a side tuck. Who knows? But that is a definite. So I'm going to put that down on the floor beside me as a checked and okay. Let's have a look at these 2 little guys. Yep, height's right. Oh, look, perfect. So I don't need to do anything with them. Now, let's have a look at this paper. I'll need a tear ruler for this because I want some rough edges in amongst my journal. So what have we got? Where's a proper ruler? The board is good, but at a glance, because the zeros here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out to 7 and 7 that way, it can be a little bit, confusing. So I'm just going to pop my ruler at the top there as just a quick reference. So the width 10 maximum is not too bad, and the height needs to be 7. And that's a little bit too high. So I'm going to tear this down to 6. 6-ish. There and there. for another day. And we need this to be 10. So let's do it at 9-ish using my board just to line me up a little. Another scrap, fold it. I was going to ink around these edges while I was here, but being that we're going to do a stenciling video, I'll leave it at that for now. Let's have a look at this guy. He would be a good page to hinge something from it. So I'll just use the one image and keep that. These blue prints have come from the Graphics Fairy. Now the Graphics Fairy is a online resource that you can use to get images to suit a certain theme that you might be looking for. It is a monthly subscription. Is it worth it? Yeah, it is. If you do a lot of journaling and you're looking for something random like a topic, you're like, oh, where can I find some basic images? I guess it's worth it. I think I pay $14 a month. I can't remember. I don't think that's a year. I think it's something a month. I set it up a little while ago, and to be honest, I haven't really used it a lot, and I am considering cancelling it, but I just haven't got around to it, but I probably should, because it's probably money I could be spending on something else. So that's good. That'll slide in and give me a little tab here that could have something else attached to it, like, you know, like an envelope or something like that. So I'm happy with that little one. All right, let's have a look at the next one. So its height is pretty good as it is. I just pinch a little bit off the height. Won't hurt. Because we have those bands in the middle of the midori, it you don't want it bumping into it. So width-wise, it's pretty good, but I might do a fold like that, and then crooked, a fold like that, or like that. That's better. That way I'm not losing any print, so it'll slide in and potentially can be a tuck. Or if I don't want that, I can just tear that off and I'll still have a little page in my journal that has some decorating opportunities. Could even be glued shut to create an envelope if I needed a quick envelope, and put an extension on there, maybe some fabric, and that could be a little envelope. So that's a handy little piece. What about this one? Height's perfect. Width is not bad, but if I did that again, and then maybe that would be pretty good. Okay, a couple of those. Height's pretty good. Width. And we'll do a flip out that way. So I can put a tab on there, open it up. So that's a little bit of fun. So that's a good page. We'll revisit these, as I said, in the stenciling. So I might even do a little bit more work on them. I might tear this way. And I'll get two, because the width-wise is pretty cute. It'll make a nice little piece, and that one. Okay, so there's some coloured papers to get me started. I'll add them to my pile on the floor with the envelopes. Whether the journal will need all of these pages, who knows? This one here is already folded in half. So I might just I'll get rid of that because I've got this as my template, so I don't need it. I'm just going to tear this paper up a little bit, as in rough it up. Oops. This is the Parisian dyed paper. And I'm just going to do, is the width right? Not quite, so I will need to fold it in. I might leave it, no, I will tear it, and then I'm just going to fold it back on itself so I know it will be the right size for the journal. It could just be a random little page. Same here. So lots of different types of pages ready to go in my journal. Okay. This one here might get the fold right first, like so. And I might bring that back in, so at least it opens to quite a big piece of paper. I want to create a bit of a spread, and I'll just tear that off there. I should have done the top first. It's going to be a bit shorter than I had first thought, but that is okay. All right, so now I've got, it can be hinged in my journal there, and then flip out, so it's quite a good sized piece of paper. I might do a couple of those because they're quite handy. Let's use that as my template. Okay. Nope. What am I doing? I'm folding first that one, and then folding in that one. Line it up, and then I'm just going to tear some off the top and then tear the bottom. So that's a good piece. Okay, so we've got two of those. Put them down. Now I was thinking, what could I do? Okay, I might just do a fold like that. Then I'll tear it. I'm probably talking too quiet. Oh, this throat. I can't stop clearing my throat. It must be annoying you. This COVID. It's still just annoying me. Cut that one like that. And I'll rough up this one. Two little ones. Might do a third one like that, but I'm going to make it quite long. And then, so that'll be that side, and then this will be this side, and then that'll fold back on itself. Like so. Just trying to think of different ways to sort of fold the paper so that it's a little bit interesting. Now I just need to take a bit off of that height. Okay. So go a little bit there, and then that'll pull out there. Might do another one like that. So how did I do it? First fold was like that. Second fold then came in like that, and then that one went back like that. Okay, that's pretty good. And then we need to just tear it down to size. Okay. A couple of those, a couple there, lovely. All right, so now we better take some grandma paper. Let's just tear that. Oops. That's not bad if you're doing a really grungy journal, but we're not that grungy. So I want it fairly interesting edges, but where's my edge? But not, you know, totally grungy. Okay, so I'm just going to fold that. Looks like a piece of antique paper. It sort of is. It's probably 30, 40 years old. I might fold this first to get my width. I don't know if I can tear two at the same time. Is that right, my width? Yeah. I'm going to try. Oh. Hang of a mess. But that's okay. The great thing about journaling, it doesn't really matter. Because once we start decorating, it never looks like what it originally started out like, which is something quite therapeutic in itself. That's it. It's torn. I might leave that like that. It's interesting. It's within the size parameters, and at the end of the day, it could be just something I use for scraps to decorate anyway. So I'm just going to leave that, and I can always trim it when I need it, you know, and add it to my journal. So I've got a couple of little pieces of that paper. Now, let's have a look at this straw paper. So height-wise, I'd lose that. If I folded it, I'd get two, and they'd be the right height with no waste. So we're going to do that. We're going to fold it. Just rough her up with a bit of a tear. Yep, keep going. Don't know why I hesitated then for some reason. So now I just got to work out my height. I can have one fairly big and one reasonably big. So is good. I'll leave that straight edge for now because you never know what that will end up being, but at least we've got some straw paper. Okay, so let's have a look at this paper. If it's folded in half, it's the right height, which I think I will do first. I'm going to leave this paper not torn too, because the Stamperia paper isn't torn. So I've got a bit of a mix of different edges. So I could get 2 or 1 and 3. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'll just mark it with my pencil and get my cutting board out and cut the 3. So there was 1 there and 1 there, and that'll give me 3 pages. So I might just grab this guy as well and fold it. Oh, that's so bright. But we can ink it. Might even do some stenciling on this one as well. Let's grab a piece of the brown, fold it. Okay, now let's get the cutting board up. Here's my red one. Can I see my mark? There's the first one. And there's the next one. Grandma would be proud. No waste. Being a dressmaker, you don't have waste. Try and get everything you need out of your fabrics. So that gave me 3, another 3, and a little one. So lovely. So they're in the parcel, the package. Get rid of that paper. Now we're up to the textiles. So what I want to do is have just a couple pages of just fabric flipping and flopping in the breeze. So I'll just get rid of the, will I get rid of the selvage? No, I like the selvage. I'm going to leave the selvage on for a moment. And I'm going to snip that there and that there. And I'm just going to rip this calico or muslin or homespun. There's a few different names out there. Right, clean up the threads. That should now be able to be folded and slid into my journal as a texture page. Love it. So let's do another one like so. So a little snip and a little rip. Okay, so we have 2 pages ready to go there. Just fold that with my fingers, and that can have some stitching attached to it that I may do. I can write on it, I can paint on it. It's just an interesting surface to have within your journal. Now this here is a napkin that I've been using for some time for slow stitch, and I find it really fun to work with. So I'm going to actually include some. I'm just going to cut that there. It's got starch in it from when it was last laundered and starched, and I love how that's got that little bit of stiffness to it. So I want to include it in the journal as well. So it's just an interesting surface. Even if I just do, you know, some basic running stitch on it and build up something, I don't know. And I love that. It's like got a little woven feature there. So I definitely want to include a little piece of that. I'll save the rest for a rainy day. So that's 2 different fabrics. Okay, so the last one I want to put in is some hessian. So I just want to, yeah, that'll work. It will become a fraying mess, but what it will give me, as well as a mess, is I can pull threads from it and use them on tags. So if I need a fibre, I can pull that fibre out. I'll show you. And now I've got some string with me in my journal to use for tags or tying something on. And it's just a really interesting texture too to have in a journal. And you might pin some things on, you can glue onto it, you can sew on it, you can paint something and attach it. It's just some interesting elements to have within your journal. So where are we at? I think we're at the bottom of the pile. Let me grab my pile and let's see what we've got. Get rid of my ruler. Okay, now we've got our mat, our calico, and our hessian. Love it. We've got some Japanese cardstock in the colours that suit our journal. Where's my little pencil case? Look at that. Looking gorgeous. We've got some straw paper. We've got some of Grandma in there with the dressmaking paper. We've got some coffee dyed paper. We've got a bit more coffee dyed paper there. We've got some printables, just a few, and a couple envelopes. So that is quite a chunk of goodies that can go into the journal ready to be worked on. And then if I slide in amongst that some Japanese text, which I'll find in my travels, it will really pull it all together as, you know, a ready to go pack of papers. So that is my video today, but I did want to show you one thing I found in the process of digging out all of this. I found this. This is a book I've picked up somewhere in my travels. I think it came from TK Maxx and they're all on sale. It had a price sticker on it of $15 and I think they were all reduced to like a couple dollars. It's a vinyl soft cover with a little closure, which is just a grommet, and then in the back they've got this little piece here. So when I saw it in the cupboard, and it's got all this lined paper, I love the colour of it. I thought, that suits our theme. Where's my pencil case? It suits our theme. And we made, there's my little clusters, we made this extra cover for maybe journal not big enough, can expand. So I've got this extra cover and I'm thinking of adding to the pack this book. I'm not sure if I'll do anything to it. I probably won't, just in case I don't need it. It's then available for something else. If I want some lined paper, I can. If I want to make some notes, let's say I don't get time to journal. Let's be honest, we're busy traveling all over the place and it's just crazy. Onto trains, off trains, back onto trains, and I just don't get time to journal in the decorative form. What I could use this for is write day 1, went to here, 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 here. Day 2, here, 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 here. And put detail in here that I will forget when it comes to finishing my journal off, which could actually be back home in Brisbane, like at the end of the month. So I'm going to put this in, and I can use this to diarise my journey. it'll take the pressure off me having to pull the glue stick out every day. To be honest, is probably not feasible unless you're sitting, traveling on a big train trip or a boat or something like that. So I'm going to add this to my package of things to take. Who knows what I'll need it for? It's some writing paper that I think might be really handy. So I just saw it and thought, not a bad idea. So that is now in amongst all my goodies to be packed up in a container, ready for the trip to Japan. Okay, I will leave you in peace. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you all have a lovely day. I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.